Okay, this is circulation part 2 of BIOL 213 Vertebrate Zoology Lab. We have the heart models out, and the emphasis here is really to look at fish through to reptiles, and then other heart models to go through to birds and amphibians. Sorry, birds and mammals, pardon me. So look at the real shark heart from your dogfish dissection and consider that as a single circulatory circuit. We then have the evolution, and that's branchial, by the way, because it goes to a gill. We then have the evolution of a pulmonary circuit, and in our aquatic salamanders we retain a pulmocutaneous, but we still have a branchial. So they're a bit of an oddball, so I'm not going to focus on them. Instead I'm going to focus on the terrestrial amphibians, because they have the pulmocutaneous circuit, and the branchial has instead become a systemic circuit. And we have to partition now our oxygenated blood coming from our pulmonary from the deoxygenated returning from the body. We do that with two atria, that's the key feature. And then secondarily, we now divert the oxygenated to the systemic and the deoxygenated to the pulmonary as we pump those out of the ventricle. And we do that using the conus arteriosus, which you can see here. And it's got the spiral valve that facilitates that. So remember, two features that help avoid blood mixing: the two atria and the spiral valve. We also see the remnants of those brachial arches in the truncus arteriosus, really just part of the conus arteriosus. And here are our three arches coming out. We have 1, 2, 3, corresponding to a pulmonary, which is the sixth fish gill arch. We have then the systemic body, which is the fourth gill arch, and then we have the carotid, which is going to be the third gill arch. So just recall the origin of those three arches. There's our double circulatory heart. We have a reptile heart over here. It's very hard to really look at the reptile heart and perceive the different chambers of the ventricle, or different compartments of the ventricle, I should say. Because these guys have got two atria, and then they've got a very complicated ventricle with an interventricular valve. And we'll deal with that in a lecture, but instead focus on how these guys can shunt blood between their pulmonary trunk and their systemic trunk. So this is an example of that. Just here, there's that pulmonary, and there's that systemic. It's not really a conus arteriosus anymore. And to emphasize that, we're going to go over and look at the turtle heart. So the turtle heart will show you those ventricle with the two atria. And you can see coming out of the top the different arches. Make sure you can recognize the pulmonary and the systemic, and then talk about how blood can be shunted away from the pulmonary by increasing vasoconstriction in the pulmonary circuit. Okay, that's that one. Oops. And there, that one is there. Bird I won't focus on too much, because we'll be looking at the mammal heart as an example of a fully partitioned four-chambered heart where there's no capacity for a shunt. There is our bird. Instead, when you come round, you want to focus on thinking about the mammal, and we'll be looking at the cat, and we'll be focusing on blood flow away from the body and blood flow back, away from the heart, and then blood flow back to the heart. And I've done a separate video which takes you through the cat, which explains that. Okay, we then also have the heart itself. You can see it quite neatly in this model with the two ventricles, the two atria, and then you've got, of course, that pulmonary arch, pulmonary trunk, and you have the aortic arch. So make sure you know those, but look at my heart dissection video to familiarize yourself with that, because I think I'll display a heart which has vessels, and they'll have those pinned and the chambers pinned for you to identify. All right, that's really the main theme here, the evolution of that double circuit through the pulmonary and the loss of the branchial to become the systemic. And then the different veins and arteries that evolve to serve the limbs, and the ones which serve the mesenteries, and how they're arranged in the thorax, with the asymmetric arrangement of the arteries and the symmetrical arrangement of the veins.